Good evening, good evening, good evening, y'all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Eric Hall, your success concierge. Great to see everyone here again. Make sure you hit the like button as you come on in. That definitely is free. Let's see what we got going on in the chat. Mr. Nice Smokey, good evening. Welcome to you as well. But it is definitely good to be back. I know I'm not broadcasting as frequently as I usually do. That's because your success concierge I'm putting in work on some things behind the scenes. So doing some classes, certifications for image consulting, color analysis, those type of things. Because I said before, I'm going to continue to grow and add value to you. So that is what I've been doing. So stay tuned for that. We got a lot of exciting news on that as it starts on that. Already started taking color analysis clients. Already did my first one. So yeah, I'm really excited about that, and this is such a valuable thing. to do and the way to add value to other individuals. So let's talk about what we have going on here. Let's talk about our sin of the day. It's been a sin of the day before, so it's nothing new. This is bond number 9, Queens, because this is where our case study comes from, Queens, New York. So I thought it would be apropos to wear that. Again, if you haven't seen me talk about this fragrance, this is Champaca fragrance, which is one of the rare flowers. So this is a gem of a fragrance. I love it. Unisex, men and women. Definitely warm weather scent, evening scent as well too. In the summertime, grown and sexy. Can also be signature scent worthy as well too. So that is Bond number 9, Queens. Very beautiful scent. Again, it's Champaca. The only person I know who does Champaca just as good or just as well, or that I've experienced, is Tom Ford. He used to have this fragrance Champaca Absolute. He doesn't offer that anymore, but that was definitely in the past one of my favorite fragrances. But let's see what's going on here in the chat here. I definitely appreciate everyone tuning in. We definitely thank you for your support. So welcome to Office Hours again. But let's talk about what it is that I do. I'm a success concierge and consultant. I help individuals and businesses maximize their outcomes, achieve their desired outcomes by maximizing the ABCDs of image because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. And when you don't make a good first impression, your opportunities, your dollars, your potential goes somewhere else. So we don't want that to happen for you. So we customize a program for you. All you have to do is reach out, as many of you have been doing via here, via Instagram, soon via the website. So we're going to be doing that as well very shortly. Um, just a lot of fast moving parts, a lot of things launching. I did put the Cash App out on the screen, so you're entitled to send your questions there, also in the chat. I will get to them as well too. So definitely when we come to that portion, I also appreciate those individuals who have decided that they want to support the channel. That is always greatly and deeply appreciated. So let's talk about and get into the topic. I don't know why this collar is doing what it's doing, but let's talk about and get into the topic, right? um, just makes sense. And that's a play on our case studies key name. But certain things just make sense. And you have to constantly be flexible, constantly be learning, growing as you continue to do different things with your brand because things change. You change. You're going to age. You're going to have different goals. You're going to have different perspectives. So you're going to have to be flexible and malleable, but at the same time authentic because as you grow, your image, your brand, those type of things, your growth, your style, personality may change over time. Your expectations and your goals may change over time, and that's just for you as an individual. But let's talk about you as a brand, you as an entrepreneur, you as a business. Well, conditions will change as well too. Market conditions change. So, for example, now we're doing a lot of internet-based things that wasn't there before. The barriers of entry are a lot more simpler so you can in fact take advantage of that. And then the market conditions have changed. Years ago there was a thing called telemarketing. They still do it, but I don't know how effective it is in this day and age. Is because there are so many scam callers and things of that nature. So you have to constantly be learning, growing, and adjusting so you can continue to build and do the things that you need to do. And that's what we talk about our case study for this evening. This is someone who has evolved over time, who's moved his brand, his image, but continued to be authentic as well as successful in those things that he does. So I'll just go ahead and button this button here so to stay in place. Excuse me on that. Yeah, it's been one of those days, been out and about doing a lot of things, a lot of projects. So that's what we do. But let's go ahead and get into the case study here, see what we got going on in the chat before we do that, because I definitely appreciate that. Definitely appreciate y'all tuning in. And we're going to go ahead and get started. Let me check and make sure that my screen is going forward. And let me take this off. Let's see here. Let's share the screen. Present. Entire screen. Okay, click that. All right, let me check this, make sure it changes. Give me 1 second here. Let's see, because there's a delay there. All right, excellent. We got that. So Um, let's get into this. I am Eric Hall, your success concierge, and today we're going to talk about It Makes Sense, a case study on Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. Let's get started. So, as I always preface all the things that I do, this is intended to be as accurate as possible based on any public information out there. But in case there's a error, this is not in any way intent to cause harm or damage to the individuals involved. I know it's funny because 50 Cent is one of the ultimate trolls. So that's one of the things that allow him to be effective. So I definitely like the preface on that. But I definitely appreciate y'all tuning in. But we're going to go ahead and get started on our case study. It makes sense. A case study on Courage 56 50. Oh, let me do that again. So we're going to go ahead and get started on our case study. It makes sense. A case study on Curtis 56 Jackson. I don't know why I can't talk. Let me take another sip. All right, take three. It makes sense. A case study on Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. Let's get started. All right, so let's talk about early life. As I stated earlier, when I come here and I do these things, I'm going to get baby pictures. So this is the picture of young Curtis. So he was born July 6th, 1975. One of the reasons I wanted to do that because he had a birthday coming up as well. Born in Queens, New York, raised in South Jamaica, Queens, by his mother, who was involved in the narcotics industry, and she had him when she was 15. Now, she died when he was 8 years old. There's some mysterious things around it because she was a victim of a fire, and so there's some mystery around that. But that's what caused her ultimate demise. And after that, he was raised by his mother's death. Raised by his grandparents after his mother died, and his father left his life. And later on in life, Curtis revealed, or 50 Cent revealed, that his mother was part of the alternative lifestyle. I do have to be candid on what I say on YouTube. So you take that for what it is right there, alternative lifestyle. All right. So at a young age, he got into extracurricular activities like boxing. At age 11, he wanted to do that to defend himself against bullies. That's him getting his work in, as well. You see Floyd Mayweather in the background. But he did that to defend himself from bullies, and he felt like that fueled his competitive competition. He said rappers they condition themselves just like boxers because they're preparing to be champ. When you want to be on top of the boxing game or on top of the rap game, you're doing things to prepare yourself, prep your mind, but also to take on all challenges and be prepared for the shots and hits. They're going to come from different directions. But he did start getting into trouble. I mean, he started himself in the narcotics at age 12, and he did this while his grandparents, excuse me, thought he was in the ASP, which is after school program. So he brought weapons and money from his illicit activities to school. And in 10th grade, he was caught by the school metal detectives. And that was really embarrassing for him because he, was trying to be covert, but do with his thing. But it really was a shocking moment for him. And June 29th, he was arrested for paraphernalia. He had 4 vials of soda, the red and white soda, so Coca-Cola, if you know what I mean with that. And he sold that to an undercover officer. And then 3 weeks later, he was arrested again. He was caught with heroin, crack, and a starter pistol during a police search of his home. So at the time, you see, he was sentenced to 3 to 9 years, but he actually served 6 months in a boot camp. And this is where he earned his GED. You see him with his cap and gown. But also, too, he changed his name to 50 Cent because he said it was a metaphor for change. And that was inspired by Kelvin Martin, who was a local robber who had the same name as well, too. So early in his music career, he began rapping. This is what a lot of people did back in the day, and even not that long ago. They would take instrumentals and then rap over the instrumentals. So he did that via turntables in a friend of his basement, and he ran into Jam Master Jay, the late great Jam Master Jay, from Ron DOC fame, and they were met in 1996, and he taught him how to create, count bars, write choruses, structure songs, all those type of things to help him be a better artist. He learned that Jam Master Jay as his mentor. But in '97, he was trying to his Jam Master Jay passed his tape to or demo, excuse me, to Irv Gotti. Yes, that Irv Gotti, later of Murder Inc. He was A&R for Def Jam, but he declined 50 because he said his style was too similar to Jay Z, and so he started doing appearing on features on songs for different individuals. He appeared on React from the group Onyx, if you know that song Slam, Shut 'Em Down. And then the Track Masters, who are legends in the music producing game, they signed him to Columbia Records. So he produced 36 songs over 3 weeks, and he came out with the mixtapes, The Power of the Dollar. It went unreleased, and then he had that single "How to Rob." This was if you haven't heard that song, this is a very interesting song. He talks about how he would rob various musicians and celebrities. Told even said he robbed Juvenile even down to his gold teeth. So look that up. It's a very entertaining song, but that's how he kind of got on the map and got heard, got his name out there, trolling at its finest, even in his early days. But shortly thereafter, he was shot 9 times outside his grandmother's home. He had injuries to his hand, legs, chest, and cheek. It resulted in him having a swollen tongue, having to have a wisdom tooth removed, and it slightly slurred his voice. So that's why he talks kind of with the not a lispy type of tone, but you can hear it in his voice. So as a result, he spent 13 days in the hospital. He spent 6 weeks on a walker trying to recover. It took him 5 months overall to fully recover. And because he said to himself he was shot 9 times, but did not die, he felt like he actually had a purpose in life. He was meant to be here and meant to do some great things, and that's one of his motivating factors. But shortly after that, he was blacklisted from the industry. He had a song called Ghetto Quran, and they wouldn't allow him to do work in the industry. So he was unable to work in the U.S. So he went to Canada and he created mixtapes and recorded songs. And so he released this song, this mixtape, Guess Who's Back, which was ultimately heard by Eminem, as you see him and Marshall down here together in the lower left hand corner. And so, as a result of that, he invited 50 out to Los Angeles to meet Dr. Dre. And ultimately, he was signed to a $1 million record deal. And he released the song No Mercy, No Fear, which featured the hit single Wanksta. All right. And so, a year later, he released the debut album Get Rich or Die Trying. They had Wanksta as well as In the Club. And in 4 days, it sold 872,000 copies, and also to Interscope, which was the label or the backing label. They funded G Unit Records. So as a result, he was able to sign Lloyd Banks, Tony Yayo, Young Buck, and Game. And he produced Lloyd Banks' album Hunger for More, which went platinum. And also, too, in March 2006, he released The Massacre, which sold 1.14 million records in the first 4 days, or CDs as you call it. So I know we have some young people who are not familiar with records like that. But he had a music turning point. The Massacre, as I stated, sold quite well, but it was at the peak of his gangster rap dominance, and the industry moved into more introspective and melodic rap. And so, at the time, he was in competition with Kanye West. They were saying who's the king of hip hop and rap, and you see them on the cover of Rolling Stone, and also too him versus Lil Wayne. But this in the Curtis era, he started being more polished, more pop collaborations, R&B, such and so forth. So he did do a collaboration with Justin Timberlake. Him and Kanye were in competition, but uh, Kanye outsold him with Graduation. I believe they were released on the same day. And if you recognize 50's style at that time and Kanye's style at that time, both night and day. So people's music lyrically shifted, right? Their taste shifted as well. And so he actually had some, various struggles as well too. and he was experimenting with different styles. Always talented to write, but just his subject matter and how he wrote things. So he had the album I Self Destruct and then Animal Ambition, but it featured a darker tone, introspection, and business minded lyrics. And he had misconception, excuse me, mixed reception. Some lacked said he lacked innovation and emotional depth. But he still had other business ventures, which allowed him to grow and thrive and do a lot of different things. As we talk about, he had G Unit. So you see G Unit Records, and some of the things he did was talent management, TV, film, footwear, fragrances, video games, all different types of things. So he established G Unit Records in 2003, also signed a 5-year brand deal with Reebok for G Unit sneakers. And then he wrote a book from Pieces Away. He actually had a publishing company, and in 2007 had started G Unit Books as well too. And his book Pieces and Weight between hard copy and soft copy sold 87,000 units. And then he did some other things for apparel, like art, this deodorant spray Pier 50 with Right Guard, and this Frigo underwear brand. Signed a $78 million deal with them in 2014. Then he had other brands. The famous one most people hear about is the vitamin water, which was purchased from by Coca-Cola for 4.1 billion, and he apparently netted 100 million after taxes. Although he wasn't a equity stake, he still continues to be a spokesperson, and he was a minority shareholder in Effin Vodka, as well as he is the owner of Branson Cognac. But as we know about 50, he's had a lot of beef with different people. Ja Rule, because we talk about trolling and how he does things. But Ja Rule, um, in '99, Ja Rule was robbed, and it was alleged, or he believed, that 50 had something to do with it, or one of his friends, and such and so forth. But it escalated, because that's how rap beefs go. And 50 released diss tracks, "Life of the Line," and also too there's a couple physical altercations, one in Atlanta nightclub, one at the Hit Factory in New York where 50 was stabbed, and then Ja Rule dropped another diss track called "Loose Change," dissing 50, Eminem, and Dre, and then 50 did a Hail Mary version of the Tupac song with Eminem and Busta Rhymes, and so he kind of clap back at Ja Rule. But Ja Rule, he had some legal trouble, so his career never really recovered. And during that time, 50 you know, had Get Rich or Die Trying, and so his status and star elevated. So that's what how that one particularly ended. But it was an interesting battle between the two of them at 50. But another known one is Jay Z and Beyonce. Um, Jay Z was featured on that song or spoken about on How to Rob, where he was talking about different rappers he would rob to get in the industry. And in Vegas, he approached Jay Z to say hello. Beyonce misread or the alleged to have misread and jumped down and came in to intertwine. But they had some competitive jabs on wax. Jay Z had a song on a dollar. What the F is 50 Cent, and some different type of things. But they eventually reconciled and on good terms, and they still talk about and joke about that particular incident. Then Fat Joe, and because Fat Joe, he was going to work with Ja Rule, and because they were on the same label, and 50 Cent was already beef with him, so he dropped the song Piggy Bank, mocking Fat Joe, and then Fat Joe saying "My Mofo" song, and then there was almost a brawl on stage at the MTV Awards, and then he Fat Joe came back with another rap song, but they did reconcile via Chris Lighty, him, his brother Dave, legends in the music industry, but they reconcile and they are cool right now. But they've resolved that. But then the game, and the interesting thing about the game is they used to be on the same label, and but 50 fell out with him because he refused to take sides when he had beef with other rappers, and so he removed Game from G Unit, uh, And so there was a shooting outside of Hot 97 involved Game's entourage. Game had the legendary diss track 300 Bars and Running. 50 Cent came back with Not Rich and Still Lying. So they went back and forth publicly, um, but they tried to announce the truth, but things fell apart. And then in a recent Super Bowl in 2022, they reignited the feud. Of course, Cameron, the musician and media personality, they had a heated interview, and things clashed and escalate. So 50 Cent dropped funeral music dissing Cameron. Cam had a song Curtis, and they just threw diss tracks back and forth with each other. But they have publicly squashed the beef on Instagram, as you see them here shaking hands and laughing. So glad they kept it with that. But this is one I don't think will ever be resolved. 50 Cent and Rick Ross. So Rick Ross claims he gave him a dirty look, and you know he Rick Ross made a song Mafia Music, talking about 50's personal life and baby mama. So they had a couple of things back and forth. 50 dropped a sex tape of Rick Ross's baby mama, which led to a lawsuit. So they've been going back and forth, and I don't think they're going to uh, ever rekindle. And even 50 Cent allegedly canceled BMF, the TV show, after 50 Rick Ross became friends or connected with Big Meech. And then here's the one Floyd Mayweather. They were once cool before. 50 helped him launch the mining team while and took care of a lot of his business while Floyd was incarcerated in 2012. They just took different jabs back and forth, but they have made jokes about it. And Monique, the comedian, was the peacemaker of that. But he's had other film ventures as well too. We talked about G Unit Films. Um, it didn't. He had to get funding for it, and then also too, once he got funding for it after it folded, he had some partnerships. So 6 different projects, one of which was the hit show Power, which debuted in 2014, ran for 6 seasons, had multiple spinoffs, and of course you're familiar with BMF and some of the other projects as well too. 50 did file bankruptcy. He alleged that he had a lot of legal fees and debt and whatnot, and he had some bad investments or investments that went bad from the recession of 2008. He felt like his lawyers did not represent him well, so he actually ended up suing them for $75 million, but he has since recovered. But personal life, on October 13th, he had his son Marquise with Shaniqua Thompson, and there's been a crazy situation, and she's gone back and forth with him over custody. She sued him for 50 million, but initially 50 had a good relationship with his son, which we'll chat about. He wanted his son to have the type of relationship he didn't have with his father. Of course, he briefly dated Vivica Fox, and then you see him with his other son, Sire Jackson. He had with Daphne Joy. But one of the major feuds is the feud with his son. But they were once close, as you see here in the picture of them two together. He actually tattooed his name on his arm, but because of custody disputes and financial disputes with the mother, that's what separated things. And so Marquise began to side with his mother publicly. There's allegation of emotional distress and manipulation. Marquis claims emotional neglect, even though he was getting 1.3 million in child support. And 50 says he rejected business opportunities and just said he was overall ungrateful. Recently, they had some crazy Father's Day memes and going back and forth, and there is no reconciliation in sight. 50 Cent being the ultimate troll, you see him 50 for president. He's very interesting as it relates to that. But in 2005, said he would vote for George Bush, and that was right around the time Kanye had the George Bush doesn't care about black people, and so he was kind of trolling Kanye as it related to that. He went back and forth on Hillary and Obama, back and forth on Donald Trump and Biden, but just been not really just trolling and joking as it relates to that. But he has his G Unity Foundation. He donates to various communities. You see here, he's donating a large check, but he focuses on education, after school programs, and youth empowerments. And then he also offers scholarships. So he supports underprivileged youth, hunger relief, health, youth programs, and also, too, he was big on donating money to Africa for AIDS research and providing meals. But as you see, he done some movies as well. This is some of the highlights. He had Get Rich or Die Trying, Dinner Fees, Expendables 4. He appeared on The Simpsons, as well as you know him from Power in that particular universe as well too. This is just a small portion of some of the things that he's done. But he's had video games, G Unit Bulletproof, G Unit Blood on the Sand, and then he was in Call of Warfare Part 2. But musically, I mean, he's had 74 wins, a total of 127 nominations from American Music Awards, Grammy Awards, Billboard Awards, Hip BET Awards, MTV Awards, Vibe Awards, Source Awards, Primetime Emmy Awards as well too. So he has been very, very well decorated. But the lesson learned is, he's known for his resilience, business acumen, cultural impact, and he is someone who definitely lived the American dream. And you see him in the left. This is how he came out. So, wife beater, muscles out, that street lifestyle. Then he had the bankruptcy, and he's trolling that he was broke, and now he's a little bit more polished as well too. So that is the growth and journey. As you see, that he is one who does what is effective, makes adjustments when he's when needed be, so he can continue to grow and build his brand. So, like, comment, share, subscribe. I am Eric Hall, your success concierge, and thank you for tuning in to this portion of our case study. All right, so that was a lot. Let me come back in here. Oh, excuse me, I didn't mean to do that. Let's see what's going on in the chat here. But as always, we're gonna definitely get to your questions. Um, 50 Cent, he's an interesting individual. He's someone who trolls, who does a lot of other things to draw attention to himself, but he uses that to market and brand and get eyes on his products and services. Going as far, and I know other people in the industry to do this, they would leak content, leak different things, so that people would want to get traction on that. But we're gonna get to the Q&A portion of the show here. That's the Cash App on there. Let me check and see if we have any questions over here, and then we're gonna dive right into your questions. Like I said, your success concierge has been putting in work this week, this whole entire month. Travel, family time, learning, growth, and of course, serving clients. So let's see if we got any questions here. All right. And we're going to go to the questions in the chat. So let's see what we got here. All right. There's a question here. Will you be offering any new services? But of course, so we talked about the color analysis. Also going to be doing the body analysis as well as closet organization, different type of things. In addition to the soft skills, the public speaking, the brand, the communication, and then for businesses, whatever customization or needs that you may have, we're still going to do those as well too. But those things are coming up because they're beneficial. I learned a lot about that on how to add value in those ways and be more strategic and be scientific about it. So definitely stay tuned for that. We're going to be constantly putting things in place to improve what we do here on YouTube or social media or wherever we broadcast from. We're going to do things to improve there, but also too, not just here in this space, but outside in the real world where we go and talk, interact, and definitely add value to those individuals. All right, so great question, and we're going to be doing that. Okay. This is another good question. So, what are some insights you learned from your image consulting training? So, to me, this image consulting training is almost like cooking, right? I was a great cook cooking from scratch, meaning I could make things, blend things, do things. It would be effective for me. It would be effective for those who I serve. But I was not as adept to saying this is the recipe for doing it. So, for example, someone who makes a good dish, whether it's spaghetti, lasagna, this and that, some of those stews, pike cakes, pies that your loved ones used to make, they can make it. But in order to show you how to duplicate it, they have to break it down the ingredients of do salt, sugar, and the proper amounts and those type of things. So that's one thing that this particular thing has taught me, being able to share and do things and add value to other individuals, because a lot of it was natural instinct. So anytime you have a skill set, whether it's this, whether it's cooking, whether it's science, whether it's music, art, dance, whatever the case may be, you may have a natural propensity for that, but then you go and you get educated, you get trained, you cultivate those skills, you polish those skills so you can be even better. And that's exactly what we do here, or what I do here, and I encourage you out there as well too. So for me, I'm a professional, but I also too work with other professionals so I can learn, develop my skills, and continue to be add value to that. So that's definitely a great question. So many different insights. Yeah, I could probably do a whole show on that. Body analysis, color analysis, facial analysis, shapes and patterns. All these type of things make a huge difference. And it's one thing to approach from an instinct and just a natural standpoint. It's another thing to approach something from a strategic standpoint, from a standpoint of this is exactly what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, how I'm doing it, and allow you to be successful in that area. So I'm constantly learning and growing, and I encourage all of y'all to do the same. So yes, thank you again for that question. Let's see what else we got here. Um, let's see here. All right, another follow-up question. Okay. How do you assist someone with closet organization? This is actually a good question. And again, this is the strategic approach that I learned and what I do and help with that. Okay. So, first and foremost, we have to take the test, right? Which is for each outfit or the majority of your outfits, where you're going to wear it to, what's the message you want to send, and what's the value at. So, we know what to keep and what not to keep. And what you choose not to keep, you may donate, you may sell, you may gift, those type of things. So that's step number one, getting rid of those type of things. The other thing we want to look at is what is how things fit. Do an inventory of what you have already and how those things fit. And then another step further is color analysis, and then break down your lifestyle. What I mean by break down your lifestyle, a lot of people group things just based on color. That's one start. But the other start is do that based on that plus your lifestyle. So, for example, your work clothes. You should color coordinate your work clothes. Your fun clothes, whether it's fitness, pleasure, dating, those clothes, those should be there. And you may have business clothes or beach clothes, all those type of things. And then you want to organize them based on what you do the most of. So, for example, um, I live in the South. It doesn't get very cold. So there's large overcoats, there's snow gear, and I keep that way in the corner because I don't reach and grab that often. Even things like my black tie events. Now I do have tuxedos and formal wear. I wear that, a couple times a year, but that's not as frequent as some of the other things. So I would put those not as easily in reach and out of sight, out of mind. Now, some people who have a lot of space and have a dramatic change in season, they may do their summer stuff or warm weather stuff, and then once it goes to cooler weather, then they'll just remove everything and put everything back. I live here where the climate can go 80 to 50 in the course of a week or a month or a day. So that's a bit of a challenge. And so when you have things that you're kind of in between on, put them in a box, store them away, and then revisit them because you might be emotional or in the moment. There may be some things that have significant value. I have things that have significant value. Of special people have given it to me, or you may have had some from when you won the championship, you graduated, you had this special moment. So of course you want to hold on to those things. But that's it in a nutshell on how I work with people to do that and organize a closet. So it helps you simplify things, helps you maximize what you're doing, and you top that with the color analysis, allows you to mix and match various outfits based on that as well too. So that is how we approach closet organization. Really, really good question for that. So that is also another service that we do as well too. Let's see what other type of questions that we have here. Uh, All right, so Would you ever do a case study on Marvel Disney? It's possible. I did do the Southwest one because it was right on time for that, and then it was actually requested specifically by someone. Uh, Marvel, they're having an interesting thing. So they have Ironheart that came out a couple days ago. They have what is it, Fantastic Four coming out, and there have been some drastic changes. They're shifting some things. I don't know how successful it'll be. That's yet to be seen, but it has not mirrored the success of, I guess, the first three phases. It's possible that I'll do it. But one thing about certain things with these case studies, it requires me to, watch, experience, and do those type of things. So I may can do it at a high level. But there's so many people out here who do reviews on, TV shows, programs, those type of things. So they may be more available to do that. But it's possible. Marvel is a interesting story company from the Stan Lee days to present. Same with Disney from their early roots of Walt Disney all the way to present today. But I don't rule anything out, but I don't see that in the foreseeable future for right now. But it's definitely a possibility in the future. Good question. Um, but if you're interested in that, I definitely say tune into those shows. All right, let's see here. All right, basketball question. What do you think of is the cause of all the Achilles injuries in the NBA? Well, so recently, this year they had, I want to say, seven major Achilles injuries, and that's almost two or three times the normal average. It's a number of factors. Some people say it's the shoes. A lot of players are going toward low top shoes, which hasn't been the trend in the past. Also, I noticed that some of the guys who've had these types of injuries, they had calf injuries before, and so you had that with Halliburton, who was injured in the finals. It made me think back to when Kevin Durant got injured because he had the calf injury, and then he came back, and then he injured his Achilles. I can't really say for Brandon Tatum or Damian Lillard what that was, but maybe there needs to be a study. There's some medical things on that. It could be the shoes. It could be overexertion and coming back too soon from these calf injuries. Who knows? And maybe with that, they will create some medical gear that they can wear, to help them if they have a calf injury, help them recover, but also to help them be able to play the game safely. All right. So definitely a good question. Congratulations to the Oklahoma City Thunder. They are officially the 2025 NBA champions. They won in game 7 against the Indiana Pacers. They had the NBA draft last night, partially going on today as well too, maybe tomorrow as well too. I know they had round 1 yesterday. So yeah, a lot of things going on in the NBA. I believe July 1st is the first day of official free agency or official team business. So we'll see what type of developments they have. And really excited about Michael Jordan's return and how he's going to impact the NBA on NBC. All those folks remember those that music, that classic intro. So that's definitely coming. Definitely something to look forward to for those basketball fans, old as well as new. All right, let's see what other type of questions that we have. Let's see here. Check phone because I know sometimes they come in here on the phone as well too, and because I'm focused, I do miss them. All right, so let's see what we have here. Let's go up. All right. Why is image and branding so important? So I get this question a lot actually in my personal life as well as in my professional life. And one thing I will say is image and branding is important because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. That's number one. But also, too, the majority of communication is nonverbal. So, image and branding is how you walk into the room. Image and branding is how your posture, your confidence, all these type of things that present you to the outside world. So, if you give directions, you're speaking, and people don't find you to be confident, people don't find you to be competent, or they misjudge you as a threat or something like that, they're not going to give you opportunities that you feel like you should have, regardless of your talent. So, because the majority of communication is nonverbal, image and branding is so important because what do people associate when they see you? What do people associate when they hear your name, your brand? All these type of things are important. And would you rather them make the assessment or would you rather create the assessment for them, right? Because one thing I've always said is you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Additionally, when people make a judgment about a person or thing, they spend more time trying to confirm that and less time trying to learn and see if they were actually correct. They're not constantly re-examining. But I know that's not anybody over here because everyone here is exceptional and they're constantly learning, growing, and evaluating. I think we got a question here. Let me check here. I think I heard the notification. Let's see here. All right, this is a long one. All right, let me read this. Uh, the chatter they write. It says, during your recent travels and expeditions, what has been the most significant challenge or transformative experience that shaped your perspective and motivated you to empower others in improving their self-image and fostering growth? Okay, so let me break this down. So, um, the significant challenge. So, if you're talking about the recent family event, getting everybody together one time and working smooth, if you're talking about my previous trip where I went to my image consulting conference and I stopped in different locations, Morocco, Egypt, Saudi, and Manila finally. The biggest challenge, I would say, transportation, and there was a language barrier. Morocco was surprising to me because the Moors they went through there, and it's right next to Spain, but it's mostly French speaking and Arabic, so that was a bit of a challenge. But the transportation and apps were easy, and one thing about Morocco is a melting pot, so people are very friendly, very informative, very opening. Egypt. Uh, it was there's a lot of scammers. They even have like the tourist police. So part of me was not really enjoying that experience. But then I did meet some interesting people, have some better experiences. So I didn't write it off completely. So if you're going to go there, some of the things are very touristy. Um, and whatnot. So I didn't enjoy that aspect of it, but I did enjoy the history, the connections, and so that those were the major challenges as well. But what really motivated me, being around other like-minded individuals who want more out of life, I've discovered people from all over the world. They want a lot of the same things. They want to be safe, being able to make a living. They want to be able to eat and do those type of things. They want to be able to have a family if they so choose. They want to be able to love and mate with and be with whoever they choose. And then the other thing they want to do is they want to be able to engage in whatever religion that they choose. That's universal. Now, how it manifests, that may be different. Some people may be Christian, some people may be Islamic, some people may be Buddhist or other religions, even atheists. But what I discovered is a lot of these people have common goals. They want more out of life, and they have a caring and helping spirit. And with being talented and good at some of the things that I do, sometimes people take for granted because it comes easy to them. I have been a victim of that, but also too when I've helped and served others, the excitement, the passion, the smile, the joy that they get from that, that is also very fulfilling for me as well too. So that's a great question. Thank you for sending that. Hopefully that answers your question. If you have a follow up, feel free to do that as well too. I will definitely get that. So thank you again for that question there. Let's see here. All right, let's see. We got another question right here. Does 50 Cent supporting Tyler Perry right now damage his image, or is this a power play? Knowing 50 Cent, I don't think it damages his image. And the reason being is he's the ultimate troll. So, and you look at people he's supported and then he's later had beef with. So he had supported him. He was cool with Floyd Mayweather. He was cool with Game. And then he had beef with them. So I think it's more of a power play because, again, 50 is also a movie person and film person as well, too. So he may be looking at alliances, opportunities as well too. But when you look at the type of things they do, and there's such a wide spectrum. One is over here, one is over there. Outside of doing film, they're very far apart on what they do. The closest I would say they were is when Tyler Perry did the Alex Cross series, which was based on a previous character. I'm not sure the origins. I know Morgan Freeman played Alex Cross. They even have a TV show, Alex Cross. So that's more serious and dark in tone. So that's more in line with what 50 does. So I don't really see it that way. But again, I don't, when he says certain things about certain people, I don't know if he's being genuine or he's being trolling. So he's giving himself that leeway. A perfect example. He said he was going to support Donald Trump in 2020 because of his tax policies, and he didn't like Joe Biden's. And then shortly thereafter, he said F Trump. So 50 allows himself to be very malleable, moving in and out as he sees fit, kind of like Neo in the Matrix. He goes in and out as he sees fit. So, good question from Empire Newers. Definitely appreciate that. And let's see here. Let's see the other one. They go on to write, I love places where culture is expressed, not a fan of places that feel tourist. Yeah, I mean, because sometimes you can't, when you go places like that, sometimes you can't really get the true effect of it. So for example, I went to the pyramids of Giza in a very historic location, and it was about taking pictures on camels, which I did, doing little silly things like putting your finger on top of the pyramid, kissing the sphinx, all those type of things. And then I didn't go inside. They've removed all the stuff from there. That's all in museums, but I probably should have. My archaeologist said I should have gone in there to look at the architecture. But I really like getting among the people, and sometimes when it's in a tourist nature, they see you as a dollar sign. They want to engage in commerce, so they always say, "My brother, my brother." I say, "What time am I coming to get dinner since I'm your brother?" Or I tell them I'm the only son. So uh, but you got scammers and people who try to, as they say, separate you from your coin purse, no matter where you go. So that's one thing that I always be aware of and have my head on the swivel. It was again very evident in Egypt. They even have something called the tourist police, because again, there's a lot of people who are looking for targets, or as I say, looking to make you food, and they're very aggressive as well too. So thank you again. I always appreciate Empreneurs tuning in. Great supporter of what we do here, and also doing some great things in their own right. So definitely appreciate your support on that. Let's see what other questions we have. Let me check over here and see what else that we have. I know we got some other questions. All right, let's go in here and see what else we got over here. All right, let's see here. This might be somebody who related to me. I'm not sure. But it says, do you do wedding planning? Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that I have a family member who is getting married. So, as a gift to them, I have agreed to help and assist with that. Outside of that, I'm not sure. Just because I guess I see too many shows of bridezillas and yes to the dress and all that. So I don't know if I definitely have the stomach to delve deep into that. But I will, again, in this instance right here, because it's a loved one, it's a family member, I will see how it turns out, see how I enjoy it. As you know, I did pageants. I helped someone win a pageant as well. That wasn't necessarily um, something that I sought out to do, but I took on the challenge. I took on the opportunity. My client was victorious, and so it's definitely something I can do. I don't really close any doors. I have to see what the experience like. And again, just like the topic of what we're doing right now, does it make sense? So it's definitely got to make sense from a time perspective, from a financial perspective, but most importantly, from a stress and sanity perspective. And maybe I'm just jaded from all those crazy TV shows. I always joke about people watching too much TV. Maybe myself, I am a victim of that as well too. So definitely a good question. But reach out, put your inquiry in, present it, and we'll go from there. All great questions. I really appreciate everyone tuning in. You ask not good questions, but exceptional questions, very thought provoking as well too. That keeps me sharp on my toes as well, and allows me to continue to learn, grow, and add value to you as well too. Let's see what else we got here. That one's old. Let's see here. Think. Let's see. I have to scroll through here. Some of these. Okay. This is a good question. You've been paying attention or you not? It says, how do I know what colors are good for me? I'm glad you asked that. We perform a color analysis. Now, long story short of it, um, color theory has been out since the 1600s. I don't know if it was Da Vinci or Galileo. Maybe it's Galileo, but it's been around since the 1600s. I think it was actually Galileo. Well, long story short of it, each person has a season. There's four seasons: summer, fall, winter, spring, right? Those are the four seasons. And that's all based on your energy. Are you cool? Do you have a cool undertone? Are you a warm undertone? Do you have a light hue? Do you have a deep hue? All these all these things, right? So that determines your season. And based on that, that helps you select your colors. Or there are certain colors that go along with it. Also, too, there are certain personalities that go along with these colors as well. So shout out to the Fairy Owl. I don't know if she's tuning in, but she has come up with the system, the 16, the 4x4 season, which I'm studying under. But each season has four levels, and depending on where you fall in that spectrum, those are to help you determine the best colors for you. And that could be, it's going to talk about your core colors that you should wear and make the base of your clothing and invest heavily in, and also to your complementary. So for ladies, that's your makeup, that's your eyeshadow, that's your hair color. For gentlemen, that's your ties, your shirts, your other accessories as well too. So all that matters. And so I used to do this by eye, but there's actually a science to it. There's a scientific method. There's a system to that. You can definitely reach out to me to get that done. But yeah, color analysis is how you determine what colors are best for you. And then also too, where you can explore, because some of your favorite colors may already be in part of your color analysis. But what happens is people, I've been guilty of it myself. Someone says, "Oh, try this. It's outside your comfort zone. It's something that's new to you." Well, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Because if you haven't done the color analysis and don't know, even though that's not a color that you utilize regularly, it could definitely be in your spectrum and it could be beneficial, or it could be on the opposite where it's not good for you. But you know that you know what to get, what not to get based on your color analysis. And then also too is important for your space, because certain colors will put you in the mood in your home, in your business, all those type of things. So the importance of a color analysis is going to save you stress, time, energy, and money, because a lot of time and money is wasted buying things that sit in the closet. For ladies, buying makeup and eyeliner and those type of things that just don't suit you. And then even when you're decorating your space. So this will allow you to have a strategic approach when you go to buy clothes, go to buy accessories, as well as decorate your home. So yeah, definitely a great question as well too, on the color analysis. So definitely reach out to your success concierge. We doing color analysis, so we're doing a special as well too for a month of July. Stay tuned for that. But we're gonna do a special for that. We're gonna give a special discount for Independence Day, because I want you to be independent and break away from the oppression of wearing the wrong thing, spending too much money, and not being confident and comfortable in all the things you wear. We want you to be able to maximize your entire wardrobe. Uh, so yeah, that's going to be our special coming up. So stay tuned for that. And then let's see what else we have here. Do we have another one before we? Oh, I think that's it, man. You guys have been great. Let me check what's going on in the chat. I know I didn't put up the link this evening for you to call in, but I definitely appreciate y'all tuning in to the show this evening. We're going to be back. We're going to probably talk more about color analysis, since that seems to be a topic that everyone is interested in. I definitely will set the link up next time for you individuals who want to call in, ask your questions, present your arguments, present yourself. We definitely welcome that here. But I thank everyone for tuning in. Um, we're almost at the end of June, so June is the midway point. So hopefully you're on point towards your goals. You're evaluating, you're measuring, and making adjustments. But again, thank y'all for tuning in. I'm Eric Hall, your success concierge. Thank you for tuning in. Good night, and we are done. Good night, everyone.